Good day everyone. We have come now to the last topic of cell membrane structures and functions, which is the modification of cell surface. Now before anything else, let us discuss what is modification, what is cell surface to better understand our topic. So what is cell surface? Cell surface is the locus for many important biochemical functions of cells and for the interactions of cells with one another and with their environment. So basically, cell surface is the location, the avenue, the site for many biochemical functions and interactions. And this includes cell membrane, cell junctions, and cell wall. And what do we mean when we say modification? Modification is a change in an organism caused by environmental factors. So let's highlight the word change there. So when we combine these two words, modification and cell surface, modification of cell surface is the change in the structure of a cell to carry out a specialized function. It enables the cell to perform differently, or modifications reacquired by cell after cell division. So, ito yung mga roles, ito yung nagbibigay ng silbi sa isang cell to perform a task. So, kung walang modification of cell, ay maaring hindi mabuhay ang isang organism. So, what are these modifications? We have apical, basal, and lateral. So, as you notice, there are a lot of cells. We have specialized cells. We have the muscle cells, we have the nerve cells, but as you can see, we focused on the epithelial cell. So let's start with the apical. Apical, found on the apical surface of the cell. So let's have here our examples kung nasaan nga ba tong apical surface. So kunyari itong container, yung nasa loob, yung surface na nasa loob, that's the apical surface. So, it is used, so sa apical, doon nangyayaring mga absorption, locomotion, and secretion. So, what are the types of apical modifications? We have cilia, flagella, microvilli, pseudopods, and extracellular matrix. So, we are going to discuss that one by one. What is cilia? Cilia is small hair-like protuberances on the outside of the eukaryotic cells. They are primarily responsible for locomotion. So as you can see on the illustration, how cilia works. And we have two types of cilia. We have motile, the moving cilia, and the non-motile, the non-moving cilia. So what are the motile cilia found on the body? We have in the lungs, the fallopian tube, and in the parasum. So, in the lungs, let's take that for example. Sa ating mga primary bronchus, we have hair-like projections called cilia line that primary bronchus to remove microbes and debris from the interior of the lungs. So, yan yung role ng cilia sa ating lungs. And also, we have the non-motile. We have the nose, the hairs on the nose, and in our eyelashes. And we all know that that serves a role in our body. And second, we have the flagella. So, flagella is a whip-like modification that acts like propeller, and it's primarily for locomotion. So, pareho lang din sila ng cilia na for locomotion. But this flagella ay most common sa mga bacteria. But we have also, sa mga human, meron din tayo nito. Especially sa mga lalaki. They have the sperm cells. So, you can see here in the illustration how it works. So, we have the third one, the microvilli. So, it is a non-motile finger-like protrusions that function to increase the cell surface area and the efficiency of absorption. So, for absorption, naman tong microvilli. So, finger-like. So, saan tong microvilli? So, this is the finger. This is the villi. And then, meron pang mga maliliit dito sa palibot ng finger. That's the microvilli. So this can be found in the intestine that facilitate the absorption of ingested food and water molecules. So as you can see again in our illustration how microvilli works in our body. And fourth one, we have the pseudopods. It is called or also known as false feet, enable the organism to make temporary and irregular lobes used for movement and engulf prey. So, ang pseudopods ay nagkakaroon ng extension para lamunin ang isang prey or a molecule inside. So, we have there an example, just like the amoeba. So, as you can see in the illustration, nagkakaroon siya ng extension and then ini-engulf niya, nilalamon niya ang isang molecule. So, lastly, we have the extracellular matrix. So, it is a compound secreted by the cell on its apical surface. Now, we have two types for that. We have cell wall for the plant cells and glycoproteins. So, cell wall, extracellular structure in plant cells that distinguishes them from animal cells. Now, we all know that it is a rigid surface that protects the plant cell. So, yan yung role niya. And we have also glycoprotein. It is the main ingredient of ECM in animal cells. So, most commonly, it is a collagen. So, ito yung signal or nagiging element para mas madaling ma-attach ang isang cell sa ibang cell. So, with that, that's the modifications under the apical modification. So, let's try to hear Arnel for basal and lateral.
Now, let's move on to the other type of modification. Next to apical modification is basal modification. Basal modification are a specialized structure found on the basal surface of the cell. It facilitates stable adhesion of basal cells to basement membrane. And a very good example of basal modification can be found in hemidesmosomes. Now, we'll look into the definition of hemidesmosomes. It says here that hemidesmosomes are similar to desmosomes in terms of functions. However, they attach the epithelial cell to the basement membrane rather than to an adjacent cell. And the last type of modification is the lateral modification, which is also known as cell junctions. They are a specialized structure that serves as intercellular connection between two adjacent cells. Basically, there are three types of lateral modification. We have the tight junction, the adhering junction, and the gap junction. Tight junction held two adjacent cells tightly. It prevents leakage of materials between cells and acts as a water seal. Next is adhering junctions. Adhering junctions fasten cells together and provides a strong mechanical attachment to the adjacent cells. And lastly, the gap junctions. It allows direct flow of molecules between cells and connect two cells directly from the cytoplasm.